At 1:11 a.m. this morning, Tuesday, September 22nd, 2009, 20-year-old new school student Jerry Koch was questioned by a United States attorney before a federal grand jury investigating the Times Square Recruitment Center bombing in March 2008. He invoked his constitutional and statutory rights. The government is now considering whether to grant him immunity from prosecution for any answers he may give. None of us knows why Jerry has been subpoenaed to appear before the federal grand jury. However, Jerry has been politically active at the new school since his freshman year, and among other things, he participated in nonviolent civil disobedience targeting L3 Communications, a military contractor in connection to the new school, in March 2008. On the morning of June 8, 2009, Jerry Koch was required to appear before a judge in New York City criminal court on charges related to his alleged involvement in the occupation of 65 Fifth Avenue on April 10, 2009. While he was waiting outside of the courthouse, he was approached by two FBI agents and served a subpoena requiring that he testify before a federal grand jury investigating the Times Square Recruitment Center bombing in March 2008. Originally, the grand jury was conceived as a means to prevent the unfair distribution of indictments by judges, but in the 1960s and 1970s, grand juries began to be used by the government to place dissidents like Jerry in precarious positions. Witnesses would be subpoenaed to testify in connection to certain investigation, then ask questions that bore no relation to the official subject of the inquiry. The activists would then have two options: disclose every aspect of the activities at the jury's request, or assert their rights under the Fifth Amendment, which protects against any disclosure of which witnesses reasonably believe to be used in a civil criminal prosecution, or to lead to any other evidence that might be so used. Grand jury abuse violates constitutional rights and civil liberties, including the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments. Grand jury subpoenas have commonly been used to intimidate activists in the United States. Since the 1990s, for example, such subpoenas have been used to target eco-activists in what has been termed the Green Scare, and last year against Puerto Rican activists here in New York. If the government grants him immunity, Jerry is presented with two options. He can answer any and all questions posed and potentially subject other activists to subpoena by the jury in his testimony, or he can subject himself to possible contempt of court. If Jerry is ordered to answer questions and ultimately refuses, he may be held in contempt of court and ordered to serve time in federal prison for the life of the grand jury and possibly beyond. For further questions, I refer you to another friend of Jerry's, Richard Thomas. Thank you.
I got a question. You said he testified this morning. Did he provide answers? What were the proceedings?
I'm not really qualified to talk about any particular legal matters, what Jerry is and is not saying. I can refer you to Susan Tipograph.
Okay.
What happens if the government only grants him immunity? The last paragraph has the discusses that if he does take it, he has these two options. What happens if he doesn't?
He's subject to being held in contempt of court, for which he can be detained in federal prison until the end of the life of the federal grand jury.
How long does federal grand jury last?
Typically 18 months, but they can be extended indefinitely as long as necessary, as determined by the court. So, you go to jail for 18 months, is that just for not speaking? I can't really answer that. Anyone else? Any more questions? Well, in that case, thank you all for coming, and thanks for listening and for support. You have no good questions.
Yeah, I mean, you said, is this federal or is this New York City? This is federal, not municipal.
Okay. All right. Thanks for everyone for coming. We're going to have a bake sale on Thursday.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say that the FBI has said that they believe the Times Square bombing perpetrator has ties to anarchist circles, and they haven't said why they think so. They haven't said what their reasoning or what their evidence behind this assertion is. They just think he's an anarchist.
Do it off on a bicycle. Come on.
So at this point, it's basically looking like a political witch hunt.
So there's going to be, this is just me speaking unofficially, there's going to be actions and just solidarity actions for Jerry in campus in the coming weeks and months as he goes through this process. The first thing I can tell you about, there'll be a bake sale on Thursday. So bake something and or just come and buy some brownies and cakes, what have you, to support Jerry. Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.